tensions rise as thousands of migrants are stranded in Greece. The race for the U.S. Republican nomination turns ugly, and frontrunner Donald Trump is the primary target. And in sports, a closer look at DC United midfielder Patrick Nyarko. Africa 54 starts right now.
Good evening and welcome. I'm Vincent Makori. This is Africa 54. Now, scores of hungry, angry migrants are stuck in a makeshift tent camp just meters from the Macedonia on the Greek side of the border. And the group consists of mostly Syrians with some Iraqis and North Africans among them. They are trapped in Greece as some countries begin cracking down on migrants moving freely across Europe. So far, there are no signs that Macedonia's government will have a change of heart and open its borders. After meeting Thursday with European Council President Donald Tusk in Athens, Greece's Prime Minister called for sanctions to be imposed on European Union states that refuse to take in their share of the thousands of refugees arriving in this country. Well, Greece has become the main entry point into the EU for refugees and migrants from Turkey. The International Organization for Migration reports that 100,000 migrants entered Greece in the first 6 weeks of this year. That's far more than the same period last year. Reporter Laura Bowman recently spent the day in Lesbos, Greece, where thousands of refugees have landed. Here's a personal account.
Our day on the island of Lesbos starts by the water, high on a ledge looking out at the Aegean Sea and the Turkish coast beyond. Karen and Lauren are volunteers with the Dutch Boat Refugee Foundation. They are trying to spot boats overpacked with refugees during the 7 to 8 mile stretch here between Turkey and Greece.
It's interesting because when you spot them, they're usually still in Turkish waters, so you're just hoping, little boat, go little boat, go little boat.
And the situation that's happening in Syria and in different areas of the world right now is too intense for individuals to be able to handle on their own. And they deserve help. They deserve the opportunity to live happy and successful lives.
We leave the boat spotters and continue down the beach, where we find the remains of previous refugee boat landings. Life jackets, wet shoes, punctured dinghies meant to carry 8 or so people, but loaded down with more.
So the volunteers here say that this boat arrived last night. Tiny little piece of rubber, deflated now, and it could have carried up to 60 people.
Our journey down the dirt path hugging the coastline continues. Peggy is a volunteer with the Starfish Foundation, which also helps refugees. She takes us here.
This is what we unofficially call the life jacket graveyard. It's quite a somber mood, I think, when people come here, because you really understand the scale of this human tragedy that's playing out here.
And then the call comes. The Greek Coast Guard has rescued a group of refugees from a boat at sea. We head for the port, where we find more volunteers ready to help. These are images of the boats in the port. We shot them because journalists are barred from taping the Coast Guard offloading refugees. Just 50 feet away, the refugees are disembarking. Most don't want to be recorded.
Why doesn't he want to be on camera?
It just doesn't want to.
But they seem happy to have photos taken of their children and glad to interact with the volunteers who give them dry socks, food, water, affection. This young Syrian is thrilled he made it. He designs clothes and is bound for Germany.
My name is Noor. His journey, it didn't take a lot of time, like it was an hour and a half, and there was no complications for him.
Why did he decide to do this?
It's better not. It's better not to say. It's better not to say because his family is still in Syria.
This Syrian man said he didn't have it so easy. He complained about the Turkish Coast Guard.
He told me that, and also told the camera that he tried 3 times to departure. First 2 times, the Coast Guard took him to a station, and they were blackmailing them and asking them for money.
All in all, on this day, it's a quiet, orderly scene. Buses stand by to take the refugees to processing centers. Then they are on to new lives in Western Europe and beyond.
Well, Laura Bowman now joins me here in studio to tell us more about our encounter with migrants in Europe. Laura, welcome to Africa 54 again.
Thanks so much, Vincent. It's great to be here.
Now, that's a good story. What are some of the things that you would say stuck with you while you were there?
Well, there were so many, but one of the things I think that surprised me the most were the amount of young volunteers actually on the ground there. You think of these people in their early 20s who are getting their one chance to go around the globe before they come home and, you know, get jobs for the rest of their lives, and they're there helping. That was one thing. Another, a woman who had a restaurant and would just see the refugees streaming by her restaurant. She started to feed them. And then she started her whole NGO with supplies coming from all over the world. So that was really amazing as well.
And we saw that lady in the story. Tell us about the life jacket graveyard. Tell us a bit more about that.
Well, she kept saying, that volunteer kept saying, I need to take you to the life jacket graveyard. I need to take you to the life jacket graveyard. And so I was really focused on, you know, the boat, and so that was fine. But after we saw the refugees, she took me to this place where all of the discarded life jackets from all of the refugees have been placed. And it just really helps you see the magnitude of the situation. And she also said that a Chinese artist had recently taken 14,000 of these life jackets off the pile and taken them to Berlin, where he had attached them to a landmark concert house just to show Europeans, hey, these are the refugees that are coming our way, and maybe we should have some heart.
Now, about those jackets, some have asked, just like Micah, our floor manager, why can they be taken back to some place to be reused to help other people?
Well, a lot of them don't actually work. They're actually knockoff life jackets. So you wouldn't want to take one of those and try and stay afloat. You know, there are hundreds of drownings even so far this year. And then a lot of them were broken. Okay. A lot of them were actually rubber things, you know, for the children that...
So they've gone through a rough time.
Yeah.
Very quickly, you know, the landing you shot at looked pretty peaceful. So what are some of the more harrowing experiences that perhaps didn't come through in the package?
Well, it's February, first of all, which is the absolute worst time to try and do a crossing like this because it's extremely cold. So if you fall into the water, and these boats are really overweighted, you know, a boat that should carry 8, carrying 60, that sort of thing. If you were to fall into the water, hypothermia is a huge risk. Drownings, they've complained to the Turkish Coast Guard, starting to rough them up, beat them, spray them with water. These are reports that the refugees have told the volunteers. So, you know, those are just some of the... And smugglers, of course, you know, they all have to find a smuggler, pick a good smuggler. How do you pick a good smuggler? Pay $500.
The word itself. So either way, it's just a challenge. It's a challenge. Well, thank you very much for taking, you know, the chance to go to Greece and bringing us that very heart-wrenching report.
Thanks for having me.
Well, Laura Bowman reporting. Now, we turn to another story. In the East African region, a military court in Somalia has sentenced to death a former journalist who helped Al-Shabaab kill 5 fellow reporters in Mogadishu. Now, according to the court verdict, Hassan Hanafi assisted the Islamist militant group by identifying possible targets among journalists between 2007 and 2011. Mohammed Shute, the chairman of Somali Military Tribunal, says the evidence against Hanafi proved his involvement in the killings.
Therefore, the court has come to know that the Al-Shabaab killer, Hassan Hanafi Absalam, is found guilty of crime he was charged with, and the court has sentenced him to death. Anyone who is not satisfied with this verdict, an appeal is open.
Well, in an interview last month with Somali government radio, Hanafi admitted to playing a role in some of the killings, saying that besides naming targets, he told Al-Shabaab where the journalists could be found. Hanafi once worked with IQK, a local radio station that was seized by Al-Shabaab 8 years ago. He later worked for Radio Andalus, Al-Shabaab's mouthpiece in Somalia, before joining the militant group's armed wing. Well, out to U.S. politics, the race for the U.S. Republican nomination appears to be mired in vengeance, with frontrunner Donald Trump the prime target. During Thursday's debate, Trump's rivals took turns taking swipes at the New York businessman, who appears to be marching towards the party's nomination. Senator Marco Rubio promised to talk about the issues, but was often overtaken by the will to get into a verbal slagfest with Trump.
Of all the people on the stage, he performs the worst against Hillary Clinton.
Wrong. I beat Hillary Clinton. I beat Hillary Clinton in many polls. I beat Hillary Clinton in many polls.
If you're our nominee,
excuse me, I think I'm talking.
Hold on.
Well, excuse me.
I beat Hillary Clinton in many polls.
Hold on.
I hope you can.
The audience cannot understand when you're talking over each other.
The debate held in the northern city of Detroit was filled with more personal insults. But one of the more awkward moments came when Trump bragged about his sexual prowess at the expense of Rubio, who recently mocked the size of Trump's hands.
I also happen to call him a lightweight, okay, and I have said that, so I would like to take that back. He's really not that much of a lightweight. And as far as, and I have to say this, he hit my hands. Nobody has ever hit my hands. I've never heard of this one. Look at those hands. Are they small hands? And he referred to my hands. If they're small, something else must be small. I guarantee you there's no problem. I guarantee it.
Senator Ted Cruz tried to stay above the fray, but he took a swipe at Trump, mocking his campaign mantra that he will make America great again.
And I don't think the people of America are interested in a bunch of bickering school children. They're interested in solutions, not slogans. It's easy to say, make things better, make things great. You can even print it and put it on a baseball cap. But the question is, do you understand the principles that made America great in the first place?
Cruz, Trump's closest competitor in contest wins, is trying to convince voters that he's the alternative to the billionaire businessman. But Ohio Governor John Kasich made a case that he is the right candidate to take on the Democrats in November.
I can get the crossover votes. You see, because throughout this campaign, I've talked about issues. I have never tried to go and get into these kind of scrums that we're seeing here on the stage, and people say everywhere I go, you seem to be the adult on the stage.
But Kasich has yet to win a contest, and the continuation of his campaign could depend on if he wins the primary in his home state of Ohio on March the 15th. Many Republican lawmakers and leading party figures have said they will never support Trump, even if he is the nominee, while others have begun to coalesce behind him. Trump is the only Republican candidate on track to win the necessary 1,237 delegates to clinch the nomination. Well, we want to know what you think about Africa 54. Join the conversation on Facebook. The address is Africa54. And check out our headlines 24/7 on voaafrica.com. Find me on Twitter at VOA Vince Makori. Well, coming up, Ghanaian midfielder Patrick Nyarko prepares for the Major League Soccer season. Stay with us.
This is BizBeat.
Coffee shops are once again percolating in South Korea. In fact, 2015 was a record year for coffee bean and product imports. Since Starbucks' arrival in 1999, thousands of coffee shops have bubbled up throughout Asia's fourth largest economy, including private shops that are discovering new ways to be more creative in order to compete. Seo Min Jin runs her own shop made mostly of sea salt. She says, we used 8 tons of sea salt to build this coffee shop. Customers like it. Add to the ambiance some medicinal coffee and other unique products, and you might snag a niche market. She says, I learned online about the healing cup of coffee served by this cafe, so I came here to experience it. Coffee didn't make its way to Korea until the 19th century. Today, it's considered one of the peninsula's most popular drinks and has grown to become the second biggest coffee importer in Asia after Japan. For VOA's BizBeat, I'm Philip Alexico.
Welcome back. Now, for a look at the world stock markets, here's Africa 54's business correspondent Jill Malandrino in New York.
Since February 11th, most markets have made a stunning comeback from the January 2016 lows. Sandra Reed of Lions Wealth Management, is this more of a technical move, or do you think fundamentals have improved here?
Yeah, thanks so much. I think fundamentally the markets, we have several tactical indicators to guide us whether we stay long the market or not. And the longer these markets, what I consider consolidate sideways versus actually get into bear market territory, the longer I think and that goes, the more I think that we're actually probably consolidating and maybe going into an up leg of a continued bull market.
So you trust this 50-point rally that we had on Tuesday?
Well, I mean, whenever you get into consolidation and almost crashes and bear markets, you see pretty dramatic moves either direction. So 500 points here, 50 points there, it becomes normal in this type of volatile environment. So you just have to keep the longer view in focus. And like I said, we had back in August and September and then again in January some very close moments where we thought we might signal to go defensive in our allocations, but we actually stayed long. And I always like to remind folks that the market went sideways from 2000 to 2013. So we had no rate of return for 13 years. Mm-hmm. The technical breakout was 2013-14, and that would be after a long bear market that we all want to forget. But that to me says we could be in a longer-term bull market. And with every bull market, you have a bit of consolidation here and there.
Finally, what sectors do you like at Lions Wealth?
Well, we've been fortunate to miss most of oil. We avoid the banking sector for the most part. We've been in consumer cyclicals, so that's been good for our portfolios, and we like dividend-paying stocks. So that's kept us a little bit out of some of the volatility and out of harm's way to a certain extent.
Okay, thank you very much, Sander. In New York, I'm Jill Malandrino for VOA News.
Well, it's Music Makers Friday, and today we bring you Adam from Ghana. To tell us more about him, his Music Time in Africa host, Heather Maxwell. Hello, Heather.
Hi, Vincent.
Good to see you after some time.
Yes.
There's a very interesting fellow here, Adam, singing with a few friends in the video that you're going to watch. Tell me about this guy. What do you know about him?
Adam is a very interesting rap artist. He's done 3 albums now. The last album in 2015 won some awards, really nice album called Books and Rhymes. Mm-hmm. And Adam is from the Volta region, and his native language is Ewe, or Ewe, and he raps in Ewe, which is something not many Ghanaians do. Okay. So this video is really nice. I like it because it's called Zero to Hero. And we think it's about his own autobiography, his life. But when you watch the video, you see it's about a young lady who, it may also be about this young lady who is a waitress at a bar, and then she ends up marrying him. And the girls around who are much more successful are looking down on her, but then in the end, she wins.
So let's watch this.
Yeah, let's watch it.
Zero to Hero by Adam.
Street beats, go get 'em. Aquawa, Lego, B-R-M-G, get 'em. Delivery. Go get 'em.
I see them breezes on my feet. No. But I go dance to the rhythm of the beat. I know say sometimes I fall on my knees. Dance your pretty and pon your coupon. Oh, give me some peace. I can't baby me feeling in the energy also I'm on the still pretty and posata so could I go give you thanks and praise. Yeah, me feeling in the energy also I'm on the still pretty and posata so could I go give you thanks and praise. My wait is over. This will be from me soon. And it's off my shoulder. This will be from me soon. Now I'm moving higher. And I'm moving. I'm moving from zero to hero. Zero to hero. Yeah. Zero to hero. Zero to hero. And I'm from zero.
Go get 'em, dance. 2G6 out of galley. And 2G and I get chonny. And you think say I go look funny like joke like Joe. Get to you, make money. In the past they gave me orders. But lately they take my order. We done make move across the border. Next year, Adam featuring Rihanna. Amazing grace. Yeah, you know, Sika Plum. Vado afisima do. Back in the days. Never come out of them. Happy no do I do. Vanya my cheese, you I get fake. Never Johnny my G, as a bandage. El Shaddai don't go make a good die. 0 to hero, still at the rise. Straight beats.
Now my race is over.
Wow, beautiful, beautiful piece there. Now, there's something else we need to know about this guys. There's some news here.
Yes, there is some news. This Saturday, tomorrow actually, several Ghanaian musicians, including Adam, are coming right here to Washington, D.C. to celebrate Ghana's 59th anniversary, Independence Day, which is March 6th. So he's going to be here in the studios next week.
He'll be here in the studio.
Will.
This fellow.
Yes, he will.
So probably you'll give us some of your recordings with him.
Yeah, and I'd like to get his some rapping, just sort of off the cuff. And I want to get a little bit more about his biography. And I should say too, with this music video, the singer is Akwaboah.
Okay.
So he's also a very good singer, up and coming. Right. Well, he's well known, but
well,
yeah.
Heather, thank you so much.
You're welcome
for sharing this with us. Well, Heather, to learn more about Heather Maxwell herself and have VOA radio show, you want to visit Facebook and type in the keywords Music Time in Africa, and you can see what time her radio program can be heard in your area and get more information about some of our featured artists. Well, it's time now for a short break. Still to come on Africa 54, and Major League Soccer prepares to kick off. A closer look at Ghanaian midfielder Patrick Nyarko. We'll be right back.
If you've just joined us, I'm Mariama Diallo, and here is a quick recap of today's headlines.
Guilty of murder.
In South Africa, the Constitutional Court denies Olympian Oscar Pistorius' right to appeal murder conviction. In South Sudan, the United Nations agency UNAIDS warns that a lack of funding and social stigmas surrounding HIV could lead to an epidemic in 10 years. In Nigeria, major cities are facing fuel shortages as the nation's refineries working below capacity. Finally, in Benin, Marie-Elise Bedo makes her fourth run for president in Sunday's elections, seeking to become the first female president in the country. That's all for today. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Welcome back to Africa 54. Here's what's trending. Now, that's enough of that. A dispute between Madonna and ex-husband Guy Ritchie over custody of their son, Rocco, has reached Britain's High Court, where a judge says he hopes the couple can reach an amicable settlement. Madonna wants 15-year-old Rocco to return to her custody in the U.S. The teenager is living with his father in the U.K. and won't return to his mother. The case has unfolded in New York, but Madonna also issued an application in England under an international legal convention. Lawyers say the singer now wants to end the British legal proceedings. Well, next up, do you need this thing in your life? Well, Amazon.com hopes the answer is yes. Amazon first released the Echo in late 2014. It listens to your voice, talks back, and can play songs, radio broadcasts, or podcasts on demand. It can also do some other seemingly unrelated tasks like telling jokes, checking your calendar, and buying stuff on Amazon.com. The new Echo Dot is meant to be plugged into your existing speaker system via either Bluetooth or an audio cable. It essentially turns your home stereo system into a giant echo. It does also come with a tiny speaker of its own, enough to function as a smart alarm clock for your bedstand. Well, and finally, videos recently surfaced on the internet of this Dragon Ball fan who modified a run-of-the-mill hoverboard into the flying minibus. The Cloud Goku flies around like a magic carpet in the cartoon. The Taiwan-based performer is known as Yes Ranger. It's not the first time a hoverboard has been turned into a flying cloud. In a country where Japanese manga and anime are hugely popular, yes, Ranger's video has already been watched over 1 million times on YouTube and almost 3 million times on Facebook. And that is what is trending today. Well, it's time for a sports report, and here's Sunny Young with the sunny side of sports. Hello, Sunny.
Hello, Vincent, and sporty greetings once again to our Africa 54 viewers. Major League Soccer kicks off its 21st season Sunday with 10 matches. In this segment, we profile one of the league's veteran African players, Ghanaian midfielder Patrick Nyako of DC United. The 30-year-old Nyako was born in Kumasi, Ghana, a sports-loving area that's home to one of Africa's most popular football clubs, Asante Kotoko. Patrick played for another team in the Kumasi area, Kasaman FC. He says growing up, he was a good student and thought he would go to college in Ghana and perhaps study engineering. But things changed for Nyako when the former men's soccer coach at Virginia Tech, Oliver Weiss, went on a recruiting trip to Ghana. He saw Patrick's skills and offered him the chance to play in the United States. In an interview with VOA, Nyako said his 3 seasons at Virginia Tech were a springboard to MLS.
After high school in Ghana, you got to wait out a year because of the grading system and everything to enter college. And during that year I was waiting, I got an opportunity out of nowhere to go to Virginia Tech college, and then it took a little bit of a process to get there. But once I was there, I had a good career at Virginia Tech, and I was told I could make the jump into to playing professional soccer, which I had not thought about growing up.
After 8 seasons with the Chicago Fire, Patrick Nyako was traded to DC United in January 2016. He says he hopes the club can contend for the MLS Cup, a trophy it's won 4 times, with its last league title in 2004. Overall, Patrick says the quality of play in Major League Soccer is improving, and it's attracting more attention in his home country of Ghana.
It's gaining ground. What I remember when I was growing up, it wasn't viewed as it is viewed now. It's American soccer was always at the bottom, and no one thought highly of it. But it's easy now with the exodus of a lot of African players, and obviously some top talented European players coming here. It's really caught the imagination of the other people down there, and they follow it a little bit more.
Patrick Nyako of DC United. I'm VOA Sunny Young, and that's the sunny side of sports. Vincent?
Well, thank you very much, Sunny. That's our show. Have a good night.
barnaamijka qubanaha waxa aanu bilownay bishii Julaay ee sanadkii hore, waxaana hadafku yahay inaannu dadka u gudbinno barnaamijyo muuqaal ah annaga oo hiigsanayna TV.
qubanaha VOA waxaan ku soo gudbinnaa qubanayaal goosgoos ah oo xiiso badan oo ku saabsan arrimaha Soomaaliya, Maraykanka iyo caalamkaba.
haddaba qubanaha VOA da kala soco website-keena voasomali.com.